guys, it's me, Krista Harden. I'm the owner of Reflections Counseling and Coaching, and I am so glad you came with me on this journey to learn about your marriage today. I'm going to help you with getting your marriage from either a place where you're completely stuck or completely bored to a place where you're having so much more fun than you ever dreamed of. This has been on my heart to share my program, the Relate course, with you ever since several years ago when I created it. But also, ever since I was a little girl, I always loved helping people talk about their marriages. Even my parents from an early year, they were like, why are you trying to help us with our marriage? You're in elementary school. But anyway, we had a lot of fun then. They're totally awesome that they made it the long haul in their marriage. And then I started helping my friends with their relationships as a teenager, even having one of my best friends lay on my bed. Well, I typed progress notes into my computer to help her with her marriage. So clearly it's been on my heart for a long time to help couples. But then when I actually got the chance to go away to college, I studied couples for another 6 years. And then I was able to study couples as a therapist for another decade. Now, having been a coach for a few years, adding to that my marriage, I have had so much experience. I've been with my husband almost 20 years. So I have developed a wonderful course. Many of you know it already, but for those who haven't heard about it, I'm going to share a little bit about that today because I believe this is going to be the answer to a lot of your marriage woes and to get you moving in the right direction. So this course is an acronym, RELATE. And each letter, of course, stands for something else. And each of these letters is basically a mini course in and of itself. So when you get the Relate course, you get sessions with me. And my clients do that all the time. But when you take the course, it's at your own leisure online. You can watch it together with your spouse. You guys can do this separately, even if you're in different locations and traveling, and then you can talk about your homework together. So it's a very conveniently packaged way to do the very same course I do with all of my clients right in person in the office setting, or we do them also on the phone or via Skype. So the first thing we do in the Relate program is, I like to use the cell phone analogy because everybody's on their phones constantly nowadays for starters, but also because it just makes sense when you think about marriages as basically like a cell phone whose battery's been drained. So the first thing we need to do is recharge your romance. And when you do that, you don't start out with the problem of your marriage. Everybody who usually comes to see me for that first session comes in and says, oh, I'm so stressed with my marriage. And as you guys know, about 50% of the people are divorcing nowadays, and that's even higher for second and third marriages. So often people are on the brink of that place, and they're really not ready to tackle any problems because they pretty much hate each other, or they're just pretty much in a very sad place, maybe a place of despair. They've almost given up on things. But the recharging takes them in a different direction, a new direction, and it helps couples to be able to reuptake, to be able to say, let's get this going again so that you can do the work. I help you in this chapter to label what your problems are. I take you on a journey of finding out where you've been as a couple, a timeline of sorts. I help you to remember and rediscover what it is you once fell in love with about each other. And I help you to be able to be honest about what your needs are now in the marriage and relationship. So we go through all kinds of different components in that recharging state of this program, and it's a very important state you don't want to miss out on. I also have a lot of lists and worksheets and things that are very simple for you to take part in when you do this segment. This segment can take you a week. Many people like to do these 6 segments of my program, each of them in the Relate plan, 1 per week. But others who are ambitious can do the program much faster. So you're getting a lot of sessions with a counselor, coach, and you're doing it so much faster. With this recharge step, you're really starting to learn to like your spouse a lot better too, which is what you want, right? The next step in the program for relating is energizing your love life, and that's the E. You are going to, on that second week or second module, take time to really, now that you've got the recharge and the current flowing in your relationship, you're going to keep it going. And I've got lots of exercises for you to do that. Some of them are revolving around the topic of conflict management, because we all know that when you're dealing with conflict, that can drain that battery right away. So just as soon as you've built everything up and now we're recharging, we're having fun, we're remembering what we once loved about each other, and we're trying to bring that back in, it's like, cut it out. I'm just so annoyed with them. And when that comes into play, it's so important that you learn how to stay energized. So in that segment, that's what we do, is I teach you the very best tools where you will not leave that time without a really great way to relate. The next thing we do within the Energizing Your Love Life portion of the program is I help you to learn better self-care practices. And it's great accountability for you if you've got some good self-care maybe in the emotional area, but not in the spiritual and definitely not in the physical. So I help you to round out again and to really remember how to take good care of yourself so that you and your spouse can relate better. This keeps the energy flowing back in the relationship in such a healthy and positive way too. The next step on the journey is the L, and that's the Laugh Together segment of our work. It's really fun because obviously laughing is fun, but besides for that, now that you've got this time to recharge and energize together, what are you gonna do? I mean, are you gonna sit there and just watch movies all the time? I totally understand how fun it is to watch movies together and to just veg out, especially after a long day at work when that's really all you want to do. But I also want you to know that in this segment, I'm going to take you above and beyond that, where you're actually having ridiculously silly fun with your spouse. So it's not just like, oh, I love watching that in the movie, isn't that cute, but that's not real life. It's like, no, that is real life. We do that too. We have fun together. And it's your own style, it's your own way, but I look forward to sharing the lists from that program with you. So some things on that list will definitely stand out to some, other things will stand out to others. But I also have ways for you to find your spouse's fun button, and I also have ways for you to remember the best times you had together in that segment of our work. So the L, the Laugh Together, is an absolutely fun and wonderful way to add to the work you're already doing. Not only are you talking about what the problems are in the marriage, not only are you getting a timeline of your marriage in a simple, organized format, not only are you rebuilding and finding things that you once had in common, but as you laugh together, you're also releasing some stress and remembering, oh yeah, we're in this because at the end of a long, hard day, we actually want to have fun too. We're not just here to, trade chores and to have what I call coupon conversations. You're there to have fun. So that's what that chapter and that format session is all about. The next part of our work together is called the Accepting Differences. So now that you've got all these other things going for you, it's important that, you've conflict managed really well in the earlier parts of the work together. You guys have learned how to have fun, but now you're actually using the tools to talk through the very deepest problems. Sometimes you do have those, right? And that's usually the things that people say break them up, are those unsolvable problems. Every relationship has them. You don't have to be afraid of them. And in this segment of the work, I teach you how to get through that and how to really make negotiations and compromises and to give in when you need to and to stand firm and tall when it's not time to do that. So accepting differences is a huge part of the work together, and I can't wait to do that part with you too. Transforming through trials is the T in the Relate program, and that chapter is really important. Everybody has had trials, and everybody will have trials because life isn't perfect. And as much as right now might be a wonderful season for you, it's important that you know if and when those difficulties do arise, how to handle them as a team. In fact, many of the couples I work with actually emerge out of these stages even closer together. It's one of my favorite parts of our time, and I'm looking so forward to talking with you guys about how to transform through the trials. In that chapter, we talk about how to get through each different type of issue, because dealing with a financial loss is so different from dealing with a loss in the grief department because somebody has passed away, or from an injury that one of you is experiencing, or a miscarriage. It's really important that you identify how to get through things with each other, how to get through things on your own, and how to get through things with the help of others. So that is an important segment, and I really think that you will be so blessed by the work that you do in that one. The last main section of the Relate program is called Engage One Another. And it doesn't mean get engaged, although I'm happy for you if you did. What that chapter is about is it's really about you trying to remember that in order to be an awesome spouse, you need to be an excellent conversationist, not just somebody who's like, hey, nice to see you, what'd you do today? It's different. When you're actually trying to be a captivating partner in your marriage, it's really important that you know the tools and ways to carry that out. I talk about how to be attractive to your spouse, every spouse has a different way they want to be attracted. So I really do focus in on several different varying ways and tips that you can try with your own marriage. I also talk about how to be emotionally attractive, not just physically, but how to be emotionally attractive so your mate wants to be with you, how to have softening where it needs to be, and to be passionate where you need to have that too. So engaging one another is not just about conversation, it's also about life goals and life planning together. Because if all you do is talk about the day-to-day, you're not being very visionary together. And part of a great marriage is not only knowing how to behave and interact every day, but also as you look out together at the horizon on what's ahead. So in the Engage One Another chapter and segment, that's a really important part of it too. And I am so excited that I get to journey that with you. Now, if you do the program, something that you should know is that you also get awesome bonuses right now. I'm giving you the workbook that is sort of, okay, there's a little pause. So if you do the Relate program, how are you going to make it all happen in an efficient way? How are you going to be able to afford it? Well, the answer is really simple. I've devised this program to be completed in different modules online so that you can do it, as I was saying earlier, in just the very same amount of time that you would do something much shorter. You would actually be able to complete only a couple sessions in person in the amount of time you can complete the Relate course online, and for only a fraction of the cost. So basically, if you want to see me one-on-one, which we do that too, we go through these programs a little bit slower because it's different. We're engaging one another. You're telling me about all of the various historical parts of your relationship as well. That's a great way to go through things too. But in this day and age, with so many people not wanting to get out of their home for one more appointment, so many spouses not being able to find a babysitter or time together just to get out, I've done it for you in this concise way where you come into our program, you take the 6 modules. As I said, you could do them on a weekly basis or at your leisure for only a fraction of the cost. And you get it all if you miss something and you want to review and you say, you know, we're stuck right here. It seems like we're not having that much fun together. You can go watch that segment again. And also included with those segments, as I was saying, is you get the bonus of the actual workbook. And you also get a bonus of a chapter on boundaries. And it's another whole module where I talk to you about how to have healthy boundaries in your relationship, because literally now I've brought you from having an or a good marriage to having a great relationship. So people are going to have their eye on it. People are going to want to know more about that. Some of them will be family members who are feeling rubbed the wrong way, like, why are you now close with your spouse when we used to be besties? Or it might be that some of the other people that are like third parties unwanted by you are trying to snaggle your spouse. I don't know if that's a word, but trying to snag your spouse. There you go. And you're just like, what do I do about this? Because I didn't even have to worry about this before when he or she was being really mean. But now that things are great, I'm going to help you to work on boundaries so that you guys can have a tight bond and nobody can get in there except you guys and God, and it's going to be a great time. So make sure you act fast to get this wonderful offer of so much for so little. I can't wait to work together with you. In addition to everything I've already shared that you're going to be getting, I've also included a library of my most popular blogs on every single topic that you can want in the life coaching field. I know that you have marriage issues right now, but I also know that sometimes you just want to know about good old-fashioned time management. Sometimes you want to know how to meet those goals that you've got in your life in other areas like your career or with your children. And I have an array of resources for you at your disposal if you get this product as well. So it's a wonderful choice as you're thinking about how you're going to solve your marriage issues. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about why you want to get this program versus another. Why don't you just grab a book off the shelf? Well, for one, I'm a huge reader, and I've grabbed literally probably almost every marriage book off the shelf over the last 15, 20 years. I've read each one very carefully, and I know the highs and the lows, the best and the worst of each program. In addition to that, I've looked, as I was telling you, even seen people for the last almost 15 years in my practice, been together with my husband almost 20 years, and studied for the 6 years, plus all of the later research I've done on marriage. and put it all together in this concise program. And when I say put it all together, my work is unique, but I believe that I take the best of everything, including biblical knowledge, including the wisdom from my own family resources, from the things that I've poured my heart into in my studies, and really brought it together in a way that honors the clients I've seen in the past and their stories that they've helped to grow in me, and the clients that I will have in the future in you and your spouse. So I believe that that's why this is a better program for you than most others, is because I've been thinking about all of that. I've been thinking, how do I get this all in a simple place? And a good example of how you can look to that and find out that that's really true is you can look at my testimonials that I'm sharing with you from so many different couples and types of couples who have been together for a while, couples who are on their second or third marriage, and even couples who are newlyweds have benefited from my program. It's fun for me to be able to look to them and say, how did you like it? And to see the changes in their lives. And I'm so excited that you're going to have those changes too. Another thing that's wonderful is that I know that although my program has several lists and several fun things and activities and exercises for you to do, I kept it extremely simple because I know that most of these programs out there aren't taking into account the time-starved culture we're living in. And I am, because I'm part of that with you, and I want this to work. And through my practice over the years, as I used to incorporate other programs that were very good, but just not quite as time efficient, some of my clients began to lose heart, and that was one of the reasons I came up with my program. I remember one mom had about 4 kids, and she was just so overwhelmed when I handed her a stack of about 50 forms from a very well-known marriage researcher. And I said, in order for you to get healthy, I need you to fill out these 50 forms before our next session. And she said, I really liked meeting with you, but can I be honest with you? I don't think I'm going to be able to do those forms. And at first, as a new therapist, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I don't know if you're going to be, and then logic took over and I began to realize we had a great connection and her spouse and her were doing the work, but they can't do 50 forms, and that's okay. The beauty of the Relate program is that even if you're just watching the videos and then taking what you can and incorporating that into your week, you're going to have success. You have to do the work, of course, but if you do it, it's going to work. And whereas if you had to fill out 25 forms in order to make it actually successful, there's not a great likelihood you would do it. You don't have to technically even read the workbooks that I'm including as a bonus. That is literally just a bonus for those who are, like me, an avid reader and enjoy that visual processing. But for those who just want to process this auditory, you're listening, you're looking, it's like you're getting a lot of information in. And each of these courses that I'm going to be teaching you through the video format, you're going to get the very same thing, and you don't have to do the reading. So that's one of the main differences. It's going to cut your time back on any kind of homework you have to do. The homework I give you is fun and interesting, and I know how to keep your time and attention focused on the right places, because like I said, I'm also time starved and I know how important it is. But it's also a blessed work because I know that you are made to have a wonderful relationship with your spouse. And I believe that from the bottom of my heart, that God made you to relate well to one another, and that we don't want to let anyone steal your joy and the possibilities of the wonderful things you can do together. Nothing can stop you when you guys are a team. When one falls down, the other picks them up. It's what we learn in Ecclesiastes. And that's exactly what this program is all about, is helping one another, learning to relate well again or for the very first time, and becoming an undeniably awesome couple. I can't wait to work with you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and see you soon.